lost my best friend to 23. She left her body and hovered above me. I saw no shadow, I looked around, searched every building and home that I found. I saw no shadow, but felt the glow. The warmth inside me, it kept me afloat. It felt like heaven had found my bones and gave me comfort when I feel alone. Now you're gone, I'm alone. I guess it's time to get better. Through the pain, I will go alone. If I fall, break my bones, I will scream even louder. 'Cause I'm not dying alone. I lost my best friend to 23. She left her body and hovered above me. My best friend to 23. I heard the heavens crying above me. They gained an angel, I lost a friend. I felt like dying again and again. I went through hell, stared at death, but I keep fighting with each living breath. I saw no way out from where I stood. Felt like the fire had burned me for. Now you're gone, I'm alone. I guess it's time to get better. Through the pain, I will go alone. If I fall, break my bones, I will scream even louder. 'Cause I'm not dying alone. I lost my best friend.
Yeah. Hello, everyone.
Yo.
We're
yo,
getting
yo.
ready. Hold on. Boom. It's me and Ryan. As you guys can see. Welcome. Hope you guys are doing well. Let us know who's here in the chat. I mean, I can take a look. I can see who's in the chat.
Let's
but
go.
Give me some ones if you guys are doing well today, and or give me a 2 if you're doing great. Give me a 3 if you're just crushing life.
Crushing life.
And if you don't want to participate, then that's fine too. But today, we're just gonna let people trickle in at the moment. I always say this. We always do this because we have 10 minutes until we begin to talk about mental performance and tilt management with Dr. Ryan Terao. In right.
Yo, Terao. I got called Terao for an entire season, like basketball. Like this coach came from like Terao, get over here, Terao. And like
for
it's
real?
funny because he was just like this howly guy, and we were going to school in like an island, right? So we all had like accents, and he had like his Terao accent, and like it was funny because it was like the stereotypical accent that you think of on an island, like that's not from there. But yeah, so you can call me whatever you want. Terao got for an entire season. It's very humbling. And you just respond with yes. That's what we're gonna do.
Terao. I like Terao.
It's
Terao.
I'm not gonna lie. These are probably my favorite parts of presentations or discussions, like the unscripted befores or afters, when people like trickle in or out and just come hang out.
It is the best. So I tweeted earlier that I'm finishing up Haikyuu. Have you read all the manga for Haikyuu or no?
See, this was my dilemma. I watched the first 2, and then after that, I was like, this is gonna sink my time, and I have to make some choices. And I picked Squid
Wow.
Games.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
okay, got it. Oh, but did you enjoy the first two? It's great, right?
Oh, I never knew you could make volleyball look so epic. You know,
That's what I'm saying, though. That's what I'm
so
saying.
mundane. And then if I was in seventh grade playing volleyball again, I'm not gonna lie, I definitely would have yelled attacks as a hitter. Just start yelling stuff,
Bro,
whatever it
I
is.
would. I actually played a little bit of volleyball in high school, so it's awesome to watch it, to be honest. And yeah, I've done like a couple like team building activities with some of the teams where we take them to play beach volleyball. So we got RKM. Can you guess who I am? Ryan
Ronald
Kelly
Measley.
Ron Measley.
Ronald K. Measley. Yes,
Ronald K. Measley. Hello,
Yes.
Ronald.
Mr. Measley.
I think we're correct. But please let us know if we're not. And yeah.
Nice. I work for the Lulz.
Okay.
This is
yeah.
actually my first inaugural YouTube stream. I've never streamed on the YouTubes.
No, you streamed with me before.
That was on the
You did one
YouTubes?
Yeah, it was on YouTube.
Okay, JK, this is my second time on the YouTubes. Yeah.
Oh man.
It's
fronting.
less special than, oh, sorry. But it was with you, so it's always on the YouTubes with you, my friend.
Ah, right. Exactly. So RK, hello. How are you doing today? How's Ron and the Measleys doing?
I'm good with being a mystery. I'm kind of into that, not gonna lie. I'm kind of into that.
Okay, well.
And
yeah, me
ooh,
too.
well, RKM or Mr. Measley, have you ever like talked with a psychologist or like went to go like chill with one or know of one?
That's a really good question.
Because I think too, like not a lot of people have seen. Oh, have seen a psychologist out in the wild that happens to been like. So, when you said that, how did that make you feel? Oh man, like I do think it's hilarious how there is such a therapist tone and then a prosody that just makes everything come together. And then they always do this head thing like this one, and they do this.
Oh, is that so? They're trying
Yeah.
to mirror, but not really mirroring.
I don't really know if it's mirroring, but they just have that like quintessential therapist voice. I don't know. And it's so fun because I don't use that voice, but I can. But it's just so funny because I've seen it and I definitely know what it sounds like and how to do it. Wait, actually, it was my browser this time. Cool. Do you guys know about Healthy Gamer GG? Yes, Healthy Gamer GG is awesome. I would love to do. Oh my God, Matt! I didn't tell you. I just I'm super excited. Next week Wednesday, I will be working with a player live on Twitch. So doing some Healthy Gamer GG game-esque things with an actual Grandmaster, I think Master Grandmaster player.
Oh, for Overwatch?
For League of Legends.
Ooh,
Yes.
damn!
And so, if you want to tune in next week Wednesday, Wednesday.
Look out for our socials. We will push
Yeah,
it.
dude.
We will.
And if you also want to do some, coaching live, Healthy Gamer GG-esque with me, you find my reach out to me on Twitter or my website, psychsensei.com, and send me a message, bro. I'm trying to find some people that want to sit down to do some coaching.
Yeah, we're gonna give you guys a little preview in a little bit, just so you guys understand what kind of value he can provide.
Oh yeah, this is a more an academic demonstration exercise.
Right.
Discussion.
It's we're gonna definitely help you understand, because that's what he's here for.
Nope.
He's here to teach you guys a little more about how to perform optimally.
And ask me all the questions.
Yeah.
I want to go down all the rabbit holes. This is what I love to do. So, if you guys have any questions or whatever, let me know.
I got a new cool thumbnail. Thanks to Cine. Boom. What's up? There it is. It's nice and pretty. Thanks, Sini. You are the man. Beautiful, beautiful. And we are just chilling here on stages. So if you guys are here, make sure you guys also join the Voltaic Discord, because we're going to give you guys an opportunity to chat with us.
Yeah.
Because we're going to have portions of this discussion where we ask you guys certain things, and we definitely want to get to develop an understanding of where you guys are across all these avenues of mental performance. So feel free to join the Discord, join the stages, so that we can help you, work through any problems that you guys might be having.
Yeah. And if anything, we can make this discussion more catered to you and your needs, and that's what I would love to do. Because if it's no point if we don't give you anything that you don't like/need. Drugs. And plus, it's always more fun to interact. Come on, this is not like college. You get to make this learning experience your own, man.
No, it's like college. It's like college. We're taking notes. We have the little L desks, folding it down. Boom.
I'm going through Dr. K's guide for mental health. Any thoughts on that? Oh, I haven't really revisited his Dr. K's guide. So what are some of the 3 things he highlights, or the greatest hits, the TLDR? Saying
oh, that's a really good question. I'm really curious as well.
Yeah. Dude,
what are some of the things that you've learned thus far? And if you do hop into the stages, I'm happy to kind of pull you in so that we can actually we can chat if you have a microphone.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna put the Voltaic Discord in the link if you want to come through. We are in the AMA or stages section, and we're just waiting for the Voltaic community to join in.
Ooh, RKM. I feel like even though you want to be mysterious, you still want to be known. Isn't that an interesting push-pull, my friend? Or is that a deep metaphor? Isn't that how all life is? We want to be anonymous, but yet we still want to be acknowledged.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so funny, that word jest. They're small little words that mean so much put in the right place. Like jest and kinda. You're gonna be fine, kinda. You're alive, kinda.
So I'm just looking at the stages at the moment.
I am too. We have no one. Sane's chickening out.
Sane, please. Sane, please. We want to know. We want to learn.
This is cool that Voltaic hosts these kinds of things.
For the community. The stages announcement is about to go live. Let me fill up my tea. Mango black tea. I'll be right back.
All right, I'll entertain, and then I gotta pee too. Also. Got it. All right, it's 3 sections: breakdown, meditation, depression, and anxiety. I'm through most of meditation. I'm through most of meditation. It wasn't really meant to be a mystery, but now it is. This is the default display on the Google account for my Gmail. I'm making food. Got you. So I think saying with those 3, I'm not sure how he laid them down, but I think I'm really curious to see how he. I mean, I can give you a thought on each of these independently and then bring them all together for you if you're interested in that. But I'm not sure if it's going to address his specific sections in the way that he wrote them. But I can just give you my 2 cents on all 3 of these. And I think really, if you think about anxiety and depression on a scale, right? Like if you think about anxiety, typically people are thinking about the what ifs and the futures, the oh no's, the what could happen, the preparing for things, the future thinking. And typically people are anxious when that futurist thinking just takes control, or they get run away with those thoughts and just goes on and on and on. When you think about depression, on the other hand, it's like the other side of that spectrum where you're thinking about the should have, could have, would have's, the if I only's, the I wish I could have, like I wish I could have changed that situation or did something differently. That's when you're thinking about depression, right? So the past. So anxiety, think about the future. Depression, you think about the past. If you want to think about meditation and what meditation is typically used for, I mean, I'm sure Dr. K does a really good job of defining it. I think it's part of his practice also, which is really good. But I think that where meditation could come in and where meditation is really helpful for is keeping you in the present. So helping you be right in the middle, helping you be grounded and intentional about what you're thinking about and what you're like doing here in the now. So instead of too far in the future, anxiety, or too far in the past, depression, meditation helps you be present here and now in the moment, which is balanced. So when you think about these types of things in general, we're talking about balance. And if you want to talk about games too, I mean, when you become tilted, that's just a signal that you are unbalanced. And so to get untilted, it's going back to search, to be back in the present, to come back to this moment, so you can focus on the things at hand and you can see the situation as objectively as possible instead of playing the game that should be happening. And oftentimes that's where we get upset because we're playing a game that's not happening or making judgments about how things should be, but they are not, and we continue to fall backwards. So I mean, I don't know how he framed those three, but that's how I would take them. And so it's all about balance. TLDR.
It's all about balance.
It's all about balance.
That is definitely a way to simplify things, and use that as a stepping stone to understand mental health, right? Like balance can occur in multiple contexts. Hey, this is RKM guy. Who's this?
If his initials are switched, I might know who this.
What's up, Yads?
No, that wouldn't make any sense. His initials are wrong.
So we have our YouTube stream going on at the same time, and for all those in the YouTube stream, we're just posting the Voltaic Discord so that you guys can come through, so you guys can participate in the Discord stages. And at the same time, hello everyone from Discord stages. We are having our stream, so check the health channel, check our Twitter, so you can see what we're presenting, because we have an actual presentation. You know, we want to educate you guys on some really key concepts as it relates to mental performance, and it'll be primarily our esports psychologist Ryan discussing things, but I believe, pretty, I guess, psych-minded in my approach, primarily due to my residency, and I think I incorporate that a lot in a lot of my work with players and just the discussion of performance. So, we're really just gonna probably leave like 5 to 10 more minutes for people really to come on in, and it looks like we have
people are coming in. And so Cindy, Udis, and Eduardo were the real OGs starting up that hype train on top of the AMA, man.
We are going to start in about 5 to 6 minutes. So, everyone that's in Voltaic that just joined, feel free, hop onto our YouTube right now. We'll post. It's posted in the health channel. It's probably posted somewhere in Voltaic as well. It's posted on our Twitter. Come on in, and once we sort of match the audience size with the actual stream size, then we will continue. We'll start.
All right, I threw you under the bus. Someone asked how to change their display name, and I said, And while you answer that question, I'm gonna pee real fast, and I'll be Yorby, and let's go.
Good. Yeah.
Dude, it's crazy. I see people just like running into this Discord too. I'm getting a little intimidated.
Yeah, come and join, guys. We have the link on our Twitter. We just posted it in health, and it should be going on streams or some of the channels sometime soon now. So please hop on in and let us know that you're in the chat. Give us a little brain emoji so that we know you guys are here from Voltaic. Give us a brain. Give me some. No, I can't say that. No, I can't say that either. Yeah, just a brain emoji. Oh, is that your dog? Is that your cute little dog?
Yes, I am his therapy human. He is
Very
anxious.
cute. Very cute. Welcome everyone from Voltaic. As I said, we are going to be getting started in just about 4 minutes, and this whole discussion is on mental performance, tilt management, and introducing you guys to some key concepts, but also giving you guys an actual opportunity to raise your hand, to chat, to say, "Hey, I need help on this specific issue," and we're gonna allow that. We're just gonna have an open discussion, and so we have a presentation on YouTube where we are gonna highlight and introduce these concepts. So hop in, join, throw a brain emoji in the chat to let us know that you're here from Voltaic. Yes, sir. There it is. Sad face. I see you. And yeah, just get ready because I think this will be pretty fun. This will be pretty fun.
Likewise, dude. I want all the questions, all the hands to go up. It's gonna be more fun than just me talking. If I can answer your specific questions or make this more useful for all of you, that's what I want to do. So raise them hands, interact. It's more fun that way. And let's have some fun, dude.
So just a quick background, right? We have our esports psych here. We are gonna fully introduce ourselves during the presentation, but have you guys had any questions ever for an esports psychologist? Maybe one of the first few here. Like, what would be your one question? You can drop it in the chat. Let us know, and we're gonna eventually get to it throughout the presentation, and at the very end, we're gonna leave some room and some time to chat. So you can drop some questions down in the chat, and we will get to them. Dr. Ryan Terao. That's how I like to pronounce it. Homies? Is going to be pronouncing. Or not pronouncing it, is going to be presenting about it and answering those questions. We have 2 more minutes, guys, and we will be getting started. So I'll just be reminding you guys again and again, hop onto our YouTube so you can see what we are presenting. You can see some of the visuals and the concepts that we're looking to present. So yeah, I'm excited. I have my tea ready. It is a little late for tea for me, but I just...
Hey, what is that? Child's play? Let's go!
Yeah. I mean, I typically limit my caffeine intake, around 3:30, sometimes even 3. But it just really depends on how much caffeine I have during the day. So today it was pretty low amount, so I'm just kind of rewarding myself with some mango black tea.
Ooh.
Do you drink drink caffeine or take caffeine?
Yes. It's something that I have probably an addiction to, and yeah, it's pretty bad.
How many milligrams are we talking about? What's up, Wolf? My man?
Ooh, I don't know if I want to out myself. Hold on.
You're probably doing like 300, huh?
That's
my guess.
In milligrams.
Oh, you have 3 cups? What?
No, wait, how much is average?
I don't know, 80 to 100. Depends on the blend. Depends on the cut. Yeah, depends on how you brew it too.
I drink probably more than that because I don't think it's healthy, but I probably drink.
You might have
like
to have a
12 cups
whole...
like 12
No
cups a day.
way! No way!
I can probably drink
Guys,
I probably drink the coffee cup, the pot. I drink 1 pot a day probably.
Wow. Okay, we got to get Casey in here next time, guys. We're gonna have next time. We are planning to have our nutrition discussion with Casey, and we'll probably include a section on caffeine because of Ryan. I never knew this. I actually really cut back on my caffeine very recently to really optimize, my caffeine intake and how I feel, right? To maintain the naive effects of caffeine through proper cycling. So I cycle on the weekends. I also wait 1 or 2 hours to let the adenosine build up to allow my natural alertness and epinephrine to give me that morning focus, and then I take caffeine. So we got a big nah.
See, the problem with you is you're using it properly. I and like many of the people in our chat live by the slogan, go big or go home. So
Okay, guys.
I'm not
All right.
saying that I'm using tolerance as a sign of strength, but
Okay, children. Okay,
it
children.
has flavors of that now when I'm saying it out loud,
Okay,
you know?
okay.
Yeah.
So, guys, we are about to get started here. We are going to, show you guys just and talk today about mental performance and help you guys maybe experience the mental diff. Right?
Yes,
We want
experience the mental
there we
diff.
go. Ooh, there we go. So no, we don't want that that bar on the bottom. We want to make sure it's clean here.
Clean.
So welcome, guys. I'm Dr. Matthew Hu. This is Dr. Ryan Terao, and we are here every month, ideally, with Voltaic to educate you guys on a different topic, with this month being focused primarily on mental performance and helping you guys understand some key concepts as it relates to performing better, being a better gamer so you guys can perform better, and just understanding how to maybe manage some things that limit you on the mental side for performance. So, just a little bit about myself. I'm sure hopefully you guys know, but if not, I'm a physical therapist by trade. I'm a strength and conditioning specialist as well. But for the most part, I have a large fascination with mental performance and sports psychology and just social psychology in general. That was like the majority of my classes, like additional classes that I took in college, and just a lot of additional reading on top of getting some, I guess, additional education within my residency that I think really shapes how I communicate, that really shapes how I work with my players, how I work with organizations. And I feel that it is one of the most important things in gaming and any really level of performance, right? Because I always say at the very top, at your professional level of performance, the difference between actual mechanical skill, think basketball, right? At the very top, everyone is pretty up there in terms of mechanics, right? They have a pretty high level of physical skill. Yes, there's going to be some outliers, right? Your Steph Curry, your LeBron James, your big physical specimens, but the majority of the mechanical skill is roughly the same, right? The last and remaining 10%, I always like to say, is that mental edge that really allows us to separate the good from the great, or really the great from the legendary. So I'm just a firm believer in that idea, and that, hey, it is the most important at the highest level of play. You can get away a lot more with physical or your technical skill or mechanical skills at lower levels. It allows you a little more dominance at lower levels of play or lower elo. But at the top, hey, it's all mental management. But Ryan, I'll let Ryan introduce himself.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to add on to what you're saying, especially in esports. When you think about when people go over the major differences between esports and traditional, I mean, the biggest one they say is gross body, right? Esports are sitting down using fine motor skills, while traditional sport players is using gross body skills. But at the same time, most of it happens in our head. And I think just to make this more salient to people, like, even if you don't think that the game is mental, or it's not as mental as mechanical, the question that I have for you is, how often were you able to actually execute those mechanics when you think you weren't able to do it? The answer often is never. If you don't think you can do something, there's no possible way that you can do it, right? So another question out there too is, like, I mean, we can think about this one as a very common question. Like, just think of how much do you think, percentage-wise, out of 100, would you split this game being mental and being physical? And then once you have that number down, like, if you guys want to type that number and think about it as I introduce myself, please feel free to type it down in chat and just give you some percentages. But as you do that, I'll introduce myself. What's good, gamers? My name is Dr. Ryan Terao, an esport and clinical psychologist. I'm just super stoked to be a part of 1HP to bring you more esports psychology stuff, things to help your mental. And you know what? The best thing about all the things that I can teach you and help gamers with it all applies to life. Because if you think about it, life is a performance. From taking a test to asking out your partner to going out in the day, it's all a performance to a certain extent. So all of these
Absolutely.
skills apply. Pure Wolf goes 100. Get to that question. 30, 70, mental being higher. Probably around 80. I'm guessing 80 mental, 20 physical. Okay, cool. Awesome. Then the question to those people who answered that, or if you have that number in your head, would be how much time then are you spending on those mental skills versus your mechanical skills? So if you said 80% is mental and 20% is physical or mechanical, are you spending 80% of the time of your training focusing on your mental, reducing your tilt, building your strategies, having a training schedule, building your habits, all of these things? And that's okay. And if that's often a starting point to think about how important your mental is. So a little bit about me. If you guys want to become an esports psychologist, because some people are asking, like, dude, what kind of schooling did you need to do to get your degree to be what you are? And I say, okay, well, I went to undergrad and my focus was in psychology at Pacific University in Forest Grove, Oregon, with an emphasis in neuroscience. And then after that, I went to Azusa Pacific University for a grad school for my clinical degree. Went to internship, did my postdoc at USC, where I actually got started in esports. And since then, I've focused in the collegiate scene, working with ASU and USC and other schools to consult. I've also worked in the amateur space too. I've worked with Conviction, Swift, and some other amateur teams, and mostly where I focus genre-wise are in MOBAs, so League of Legends, Heroes of the Storm, Pokemon Unite, and also tactical shooters.
Unite,
so
baby.
Rainbow Six, you got not CSGO, but Overwatch and Valorant. So mostly MOBAs and tac shooters. I think it's really important to know that, because if you're an FPS player, I may help you. If you're an individual player, I haven't had any experience, but I'd love to work with you. Smash, fighting games, card games, hit me up. I'd love to work with you. So that's the way I got trained, and now I use everything that I do clinically with esport athletes. So instead of diagnosing, I help them perform better, get out of their own head, and help them perform and play and enjoy what they're doing in a smart, strategic, balanced way.
Amazing. One really important thing to also say is that we're gamers. Okay, every single person in 1HP has been a degenerate before for gaming, and I'm just gonna let that out there right now, because I think that's important, because I've been there, guys.
Oh,
I used to compete in Counter-Strike 1.3. I'm an old man. I competed there. I competed in CSGO. I wasn't great. I got to intermediate. Okay, I wasn't that great. But, to my credit, I always get to global. I always get to, the highest rank. I was Grandmaster. Okay, I made a little bit of money during the World Cup in Fortnite. Okay, I was immortal for Valorant. So, I think I'm okay. But I really want to emphasize that, hey, we always try to bridge the gap to understand where you are at, right? We have to understand who we're working with so we can best serve you. Because a lot of the times, it's not like that. They say, we know what we know from football, from baseball, from this, and try to implement that framework. And oftentimes that limits compliance, that limits the ability to buy in. But I know that was a lot, and I see some really great questions.
Yeah, dude, I'm reading them in the side, man.
But we will save that, because we want to introduce a big concept, right? Because I think we can
hopefully we can answer some questions before these come in, right? And then afterwards we will all finish them up.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude. All right.
Let's get started then.
Yeah. So I think, all right, the big existential question, right? This is where I love to start with all of my players, because this understanding, asking yourself the why, going back down to the purpose, or even seeing what you want, what are you doing with esports? Oftentimes people come to me and ask me, hey, how can I fix my tilt? Hey, how can I stop being so angry about my improvement, or stop seeing my worth in my elo or the plus or minus in my points? And so we always start here. Well, why are you getting into esports? Like, what do you want to do with this? And then oftentimes I hear players say, I want to go pro. I want to go collegiate. I want to go to college. Okay, cool. Then I ask them, then what? And then after that, they kind of look at me like, what do you mean? I just said what I want to do. I want to go pro. I want to go, I want to do all these things. Okay. Then I always ask them, all right, well, when you do go pro, when you do go to college, when you do get that thing that you want to reach, what are you going to do with it? Then what? And they're like, what do you mean? Like, going pro is not the end all be all. It's not the end. In fact, once you make the team, now you begin your journey as a pro competitive athlete. So and that's going to change your life. That's going to change what you're going to focus on, what you're spending your time on. So what are you going to use that experience for? Do you want clout from that? Do you want money? Do you want stability? Do you want just to call yourself a pro? Do you want money? And then what would you do with that money? What would you do with those things? And the reason why I asked all my players this is because it's really going to affect their motivation. When things are going to get hard, are they going to bend because they really want to use that money to better the family? For example, they want to get out of where they're living and they want to move to LA, and that's their goal. That's really going to affect their persistence when things get hard. Are they going to quit, or they see it as something worth it, or is it too much and they tap out? Which is fine. This also dictates their effort about how they go about things. If your goal is to become a pro, yes, it's about mechanics, but at the same time, it's about becoming a good teammate and knowing how to help your team and support them as a whole to get to victory. And also this sets your expectations about how you're training, what you're playing for, how you're going to play, what mindset you take into the game. Are you just for funning XDing? Are you really training hard on a specific skill? Or are you trying to compete and just get that dub, baby? Like, what is this for? So always starting with understanding your why is super duper important, and not just the end goal of I want to go pro, but what would going pro, what would achieving that thing do for your life? So other questions that I love to start with my players on, because all these questions will slowly filter down to tilt, slowly filter down to motivation, effort, persistence, want to be a good teammate, communication, all of it. So really understanding is important. So other questions to really help you decide what you want to do with this is, what are you doing esports for? Are you using esports as a mode to improve your life financially? Are you using it as a vehicle to improve yourself? And your self-management? Are you using this as a hobby for you to have fun and express yourself? Again, that's really important for you to know. And where do you want esports to take you? Do you want it to take you to college? Do you want it to take it to a career? And there's many careers in that also. Do you want it to take it for fun and socials and XDs and relationships? That's fine. And what will you do when you finally achieve that goal? How will your life be better? What are the things that will be benefiting from this experience? Or, how will this contribute to your self-growth or what have you? So thinking about all of these things first sets your direction about the effort, persistence, motivation, and how you actually get there and what the journey will feel like. So
I think a really good way to understand this concept is like, okay, let's say you want to improve your mental performance. So you want to improve your physical performance, right? And you say, all right, I'm going to go to Voltaic. I'm going to go and get these programs. And what does Voltaic always do, right? They find a benchmark because they want to identify where you're at, right? They want to say, okay, I am here, right? If I am at 25% of my max or genetic limit for physical skill, I'm here. And then Voltaic has programs to push it along the way, right? And the same idea is, well, I need to identify where I am mentally, and we'll put mental as blue.
Absolutely.
Right? Like, and you say, oh, I'm gonna start by improving my mental performance. So I'm gonna meditate. I'm gonna read. I'm gonna get this. But when have you taken stock of your underlying beliefs? Have you taken stock of your why? To say, oh, well, actually, I'm here, so I can move here, or I'm here, and so I can move here, and so one thing that one of my mentors taught me, and he's worked with, I think it's now like 19 Olympic and world champion athletes before. He always asks the question, are you a pro or are you an amateur?
Ooh, girl. Damn.
And you just think about that, because your answer dictates in terms of training, in terms of sleep, exercise, nutrition, your mental performance, your attitudes, your behaviors. It dictates all of that. A casual will do what? Just train unorganized. Will maybe sleep whenever. But if you really want to go pro, that's your profession. That is what you want out of gaming. And it's okay to be either or, right? but
Mm-hmm.
it's sometimes tough if you start in the middle and you're just kind of wishy-washy, or you haven't decided that for yourself. So you kind of let external frameworks, what other people say are important, dictate what you believe. And so I'm really curious right now to kind of hear everyone's perspective on things. What is your guys' why? And I want to give you guys a chance, like raise your hand in the stages and we'll pull you in so that you guys can have a conversation.
Yeah, let's go.
And so Ryan, can you pull them in? You see the requests here. So we have Autumn. Are you able to invite him to speak?
Oh,
Or
yeah. Just
you-
pull him?
Yeah, just invite him to speak.
How do I do that? Invite to speak. Yep, got you.
Yeah, okay, got it. And so we'll start with Autumn. I'm gonna use the restroom. I'll be right back. But go ahead and get started.
Yeah, Autumn, nice to meet you, my friend. What is your why? Like, where are you hoping esports to take you, my friend?
I am hoping that I can build up connections and work on my own resilience to later go into a career within medicine within esports. That's my hopeful plan.
Nice, nice. So I think with that, then, like, that sets, when you go into, say, a presentation or when you go to a conference, like, your goal then is set. If this is what you want to do with esports, then, all right, my goal is to make connections. My goal is to network. My goal is to expand how many people I know and build this team of support around me so I can pursue this thing in esports. Or even when you go into game, your efforts could be towards, hey, making friends and making connections, perhaps, creating a Discord and inviting them inside of there so you can continue to build this network. And that's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Cool. Cool. Any others? Like where did you get this, I guess, passion for this, dude?
I've always been interested in medicine, and I really want to apply it to somewhere I can help people. And I think esports is a growing scene where, as you know, there's a lot of mental health issues. So if I can get to a level where I can compete and make these connections, I think I could help other players eventually with mental performance,
Ooh, beautiful. I love it. I love it. Well, cool, man. Is it cool if I move you back down to the audience and see if I can hear other people's whys?
Absolutely.
All right, dude. Thanks, man. All right, other people that want to share their whys. This is my selfishly my favorite part because I love hearing like how people get so excited for esports and where they want to go. And I think the most exciting thing too is esports is so open that you can pretty much take it wherever you want. So other people would like to share their whys? Oh, if no one wants to share, what if you're thinking about sharing, I can take this on a slight tangent. With this perspective and thinking about your why too, it kind of relates back down to life scripts. If you're unfamiliar with life scripts, basically a life script is the concept of you had a script for your life about how things should be, when things should happen. For example, I'm going to graduate school now, then I'm going to get this job, I'm going to be dating, I'm going to get married, then I have kids, and I'm going to do this all before I'm 35 or what have you, So something I was talking with a player today where let's think about the relationship that you've had with your game. Like if you really want to ask yourself, when did you start playing this game? How many years ago? And then how old are you when you started playing? And then think about how you interact or you think about your game. Are you using that thought of, I created how this experience should go and how this relationship with this game should go as a, for example, 13-year-old, and my expectations and timing is coming from a 13-year-old's perspective, and now I'm 20, 19, 21, and now I have to rethink this life script about my relationship with this game or where it's going, and you may be acting like a 13-year-old in your game because that's when you learned it, or you may be thinking it should be faster because you just thought that's how it should be when you're 16, So just a different twist on the why and where you come up with your why. So it's always okay to sit down and reflect. And I'm so glad we're having this conversation so all of you can think about your whys and what you want to use esports for.
So we have two requests to speak. We're going to invite both of you guys, Wolf
I see
and
it. I see it.
Smooth. We're going to invite both of you guys. Thanks for volunteering. Let's start with Wolf, if you guys don't mind. Because, sorry, I love Haikyuu. And
all right.
Yeah, although Smooth joined first, so go ahead, Smooth. Would really love to hear your why.
Oh, I guess my bad. Go for it, Smooth.
I enjoy the process, and I think being at the top would be really fun because it just seems like a really enjoyable experience, and I've been like loving it so far. And once I'm done with professional esports, I'd prefer to like do content creation because it just seems quite interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like a different job wouldn't be fun for me, considering like I just enjoy like games so much, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Awesome. Like, I'm curious. When you say content creation, like, what do you hope your content will do?
I just like probably making people laugh mostly. It wouldn't be like anything to do with professional gaming. It would be a little bit, of course, but like nothing too like it's just pretty chill. Nothing like too crazy.
Okay. Nice. So your why would be kind of in like bringing joy to the world with your content once you're
Yeah.
finished with. I like it. Okay. Cool, Matt. How you, Wolf? Like, what was your why, man?
I think my why started out as being like a way to prove that I could be really good at something, and then now it's changed more to also kind of it's something where like I have more fun playing Valorant in particular than a lot of other stuff like jobs and shit I've tried.
Mm-hmm.
And then like it has kind of been like I don't have another thing I could really point out that I want right now.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. All right now. What I really liked about what you said, Wolf, is that you started with one why, and then it's okay if your why changes over time. As long as you're aware of what you're doing and why you're doing it, and it dictates how you're going to do it too. So, keep on being aware of what you're doing and why you're doing it, so you can continue to move in that correct direction, dude. That sounds great, and I'm sure you're like this is something that you're interested in now, and there's maybe other things in Valorant that you may be interested in too, not just playing. So I'm excited for you, my friend.
So thank you guys for offering that. I'm just
Yeah,
gonna ask
thank
you
you,
guys
thank
head
you.
back to the audience, but we might call upon you guys again because we're gonna introduce some other concepts later on, that can maybe help dictate moving towards the next step of what you want to actually achieve, right? What is your ultimate goal, and then leveraging that why, right? So let's move on to this first tip and concept that Ryan wanted to introduce to you guys.
Oh my gosh, friends, this presentation has even beat me to my own YouTube video in explaining this. So this is a fresh off the press for everyone. This is a model that I've created to kind of help you. It's very simplified, and it helps you conceptualize the process of improvement. And I broke it down into 3 very simple steps. The first step is awareness. The second step is knowledge. And the last step is action. And lovingly, I call this for your memory pleasures, the AKA model of improvement, Psych Sensei TM. So let me
The
walk
outcome
you-
model.
Yeah, the outcome model. Let me tell you how it works. So the first step is awareness. Basically, you have to be aware and know what's going on before you can even make any changes. So I think AA has the best, right? Hello, my name is Ryan, and I'm alcoholic. And because I've acknowledged this and have awareness of my problem, I can begin to fix it. In the same way, hey, I don't know about you. Has anyone told you, like, hey, maybe you shouldn't hit the table a little bit when you yell, or hey, I've noticed that you're sighing a lot when we die, and it's kind of bringing it down. Like how aware of the things are you? Oh, it's fine.
You guys hear that in chat or in voice chat all the time? Just microphone on.
Yep. Or it's okay, it's fine, GG. Like what are the things that you want to fix, or how aware of the things are you going? How aware are you of the things that are going on around you or with you? So again, everything starts with awareness. The second step is once you become aware of the things that are happening, or even the thing that you want to change or want to do differently, the second thing, oh my gosh, is finding that knowledge, right? Those pieces of insight to help you grow in that area. Maybe it's watching a YouTube video. Maybe it's talking to a coach. Maybe it's even talking to a friend about how things should be different, or how they could be different. Finding those things to really start beginning to develop a strategy for you to put in place to make that change, right? And the last step is action, of course. Now that you're aware what's going on, you have a strategy, you got some tools. Now it's actually trying them out and putting them in practice. And that's simply action. The thing, though, that I want to emphasize in this model, yes, I made it very, very simple. The thing, though, is each step may take different amounts of time and may be challenging or less challenging than other steps. But throughout the entire process, you have to show yourself some grace and just be patient, because once you get to the action and repeat, you just keep going. You just keep going, because that's how you continue to learn and grow. So again, the whole purpose of this model is to increase your intentionality and your presence, kind of like mindfulness or meditation, where it raises those pieces so you can actually make those changes. But in general, what this allows you to do is it allows you the time and space for you to make conscious choices and decisions. How many times have you gone through a game on complete autopilot? Where you end, or I don't know if this happens to you. How many times have you gone to a room and be like, why am I here? I forgot what I even came here for. Or open the fridge up and like, oh, I'm just opening the fridge and I don't even know why I'm here looking at all the food or lack thereof, right? So this whole model allows you to stop, pause, and actually allows you to make those conscious decisions so you can have ownership of your life and your actions, your thoughts, your emotions, all of it. The more conscious you can be, the better you can perform, or at least understand what's going on. I feel you right there.
So I think you guys might remember in some previous months, we went over the concept of deliberate practice, and we went through quite a few examples of deliberate practice, specifically in the context of improving physical skill, improving aim, improving mechanical skill. And right, it is similar, but you can also use the AKA model, in the context of mental skills, in the context of managing different issues you might have for mental performance. And Ryan gave some good examples. You do that big sigh, you kind of slam the table when you get frustrated. And number one is, are you even aware of that?
Yeah.
Right? Like sometimes, and maybe the majority of times when that's brought up to them, they're not even aware of it. It's just something that they do on autopilot, and that's their response to a certain type of situation. And so, let's go through one example, right? Like, what's a common example of awareness of something that you've had to bring a player into awareness about for this model?
Oh man, in a team context or an individual context?
Let's do individual. Individual.
Yeah, I think one of the most common ones for an individual is, and we're going to introduce this into the next slides if you want to get there, it would be tilt. I think that is the hugest thing with that I also work on in an individual level is exactly, people want to know how to better control their tilt. And so we always have a fun conversation about, okay, tell me about your symptoms of tilt. What's the process of your tilt? Can you tell me? And through this discussion, it's like, okay, is this person only realizing that they're tilted after they have let go of their mouse from their hand and it has exploded against the wall? Is it the pounding of a table that makes them realize that they're upset? Is it the slight irritation by their teammates, right? Each person is a little more sensitive or non-sensitive to what's happening around them. So just starting with, okay, let's map out from beginning to end, from the thing that made you tilted to your reactions, emotions, behaviors, physiology even. Are you sweating or heart beating, what have you? What is that entire process? Let's map it out. And we literally have to say, okay, I think someone just inted me. Okay, cool. What's your next thing? I start typing. Okay. Got you. What are you typing? Not nice things. Good. Okay, good. Now, how are you feeling after that? I'm feeling very upset. Okay, what does upset feel like to you? How does upset feel like in your body? I'm shaking. Okay, good. These are all good things. And then we've discussed, that's awareness. Other things we can even move into the knowledge piece of what things in the past have you used that helps you decrease this tilt? Or if it's nothing, what do you think will help you to decrease this tilt? Or, so we can offer these things, and that can offer them structural tools such as, how many games in a row are you playing? I can train 10 games in a row, it's no problem. Okay, of those 10 games, how many of those games would you say are chef's kiss primetime games where you're locked in there? And they go 2, Okay, well, if you're only going to be able to play 2 games at full mental capacity, and you by game 3 or 4 you're tilted, maybe what do you think about having 2 games and a break? Have you eaten? Have you drank water? Is it only 12 cups of coffee that you've been ingesting? There's a lot of things that kind of contributes to tilt, and that all goes under the knowledge piece, right? And then
We have a
after
brilliant
that,
person in the chat.
oh yeah,
Noticing a
whoa.
lot of overlap between this and DBT skills.
Yes,
Dialectical behavioral
yes.
therapy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you're holding 2 different beliefs in your head, right? At the same time. You want to do this, but this is making you upset, so how can I balance these 2 things? DBT is great for that. And then lastly, action. Okay, of these things, of these pieces of knowledge, of these different skills and different suggestions, what do you think is going to work for you? Because we can provide you with blanket statements, but if you don't take those pieces of advice, it doesn't matter. So when working with somebody, what are the things that you want to try? Literally, I had a player that said, I'm going to remove the enter key from my keyboard. And I said, bro, if that's going to work for you, not chat, awesome. Take that shit off. You know what I mean? Like, I would never have thought about that as a way to type or a way to decrease my tilt by not just sending that message to literally take off the enter key. But if that's something that's going to work for you, let's do it. So whatever works. And that's, this is how I work with the awareness of tilt in the AKA model and the entire thing of it. So, I mean, whatever works for you, because that's what all that matters is that it works for you.
So
I think that's
let's
one of
get
the
some
most
examples,
thing.
right? Let's actually get some requests, some hands up. We're gonna go through let's go through 2 full
Oh yeah,
examples of the
dude.
AKA model. Raise your hand. And one thing that I want to actually do too is I know that there's a few coaches in the chat. I'd like to
Yeah.
have a discussion about what you guys bring in terms of awareness to some of the players that you guys work with, so that coaches can better understand, for the coaches that want to learn, what some of the coaches in the scene are doing at the moment. So let's start number 1. If you have any issue with tilt and you want to break it down together with Ryan,
Let's go.
raise your hand right now, request to speak, and then afterwards we're going to pull a coach in. So anyone that's a coach in here, please feel free to raise your hand and chat after we finish with these examples. So we will give you guys some time to raise your hands, and then we will
I want to talk about what
through it.
Wolf just said. Wolf said, I feel like my in-game mental flaws are unfixable and really irregular. What I want to highlight for what you said, Wolf, is all these things that I'm talking about, mental performance skills or self-regulation skills or building self-strategy skills. Like, what we're talking about are skills and abilities which can be grown and developed over time. These things are not innate. You're not born with them, and everybody needs to work on them. Yes, maybe for some people it may be a little easier than others, but that is not to deny the fact that these are skills that we can learn over time with enough persistence, effort, and intentionality. So don't worry, Wolf. We'll get you, baby. We got you.
I think that's such an interesting concept, right? Like, no one really realizes, and it's not within the curriculum of our education ever, that, oh, hey, there's gym, you can build your body, but, for how you think, your mental models, how you cope with things, there's literally no education about, hey, well, did you know that you can intentionally design and adopt mental models that influence how you behave and perform on a regular basis, right? And so what we want to do is with these type of education sessions are expose you guys hopefully to more and more positive mental models so that you guys can incorporate these into your play, into your daily life. And again, as Ryan said, not just with playing games. These are skills for life. These are skills to help you manage your interactions with other people, with your best friends, your family. It's so important. So you're not sure how to raise your hand. It is in the Discord.
Yeah, Discord.
In the Discord. Join. I'll make sure I repost the link here.
Yeah.
Raise your hand. Let us know. Hopefully, we don't have any requests yet. I'm sure there are.
There's pure wolf, and then there's wolf. There's so many wolves. We have a pack
There's
today.
a lot of wolves. But does anyone want to work through their actual tilt. We can go through it live
Yeah.
right now. Hit that request button and we'll chat. You know,
Yeah, dude.
Wolf, I know you
For free
express-
99 too,
Yeah,
man.
you express, you know, your in-game mental flaws are unfixable.
Oh,
Would
I
you-
see. Is this
would
Wolf?
you
Is
love
Wolf
to
in here?
join? Yeah, would you love to join?
Oh, I see.
Okay, so
Open
we have Juan Deegs. I love
one
it.
D's.
Juan Deeg. Let's
All right, I'll let
join.
him in.
Let's have Juan Deeg join. Juan. Hello, Juan.
Got you. One. I'm right clicking him or them.
Let me just exit Steam because
Invite to
keeps
speak.
coming up. Juan Deeg, we sent you an invite. Go
Yes,
ahead and
yes.
accept it and join on in here because
There
there
it
you
is.
are.
Yo, what's up, Juan?
Beautiful. How's it going, Juan?
Trying to get my Bluetooth on real quick.
All good.
It's
All good.
It's all good. How's it going?
How's it
Thanks
going?
for taking the time. You know, would really love to learn
Yeah.
a little more about anything that you might be struggling with. And,
What
and
you
have
got,
Ryan,
baby?
the sensei,
Let's
take
play.
it away.
Let's play.
Struggling. I mostly snipe on Call of Duty, but
Okay.
lately I've been trying to use red guns more, and I kind of struggle with. I don't think my aim's terrible, but I'm struggling with getting, like, I've plateaued a little bit, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So when you say plateaued, what do you mean? Like you have trouble clicking heads? You have hit a
Yeah,
specific rank? Like what do you say plateau? What happens?
Like, my flicks, I do play with my sensitivity a lot, so that has to do with it some, but my flicks in general, I think, are pretty decent. But it's more when it comes to tracking and stuff, like getting to that next level, is just it's like I'm stuck.
Okay. Okay, cool. So your awareness is that you're not as climbing as fast. You may have plateaued. Some things that you're also aware of is sensitivity and tracking. When you say tracking more specifically, what do you mean? Like seeing where everyone is?
No, tracking as in the aim skill, I think.
Yeah, tracking, and also
I say fracking with an F.
Tracking.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
tracking.
Like the aim skill.
Can you hear me
tracking.
better?
Got you. Yes.
Yeah.
Got you.
Okay.
Okay.
Can y'all hear
Yeah.
me better now?
Yes, sir.
Mhm.
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool.
Got you. Okay. What are some other things that you might be aware of that may be affecting your aim or your ability to aim besides sensitivity settings and your ability and your tracking abilities?
Well, like before I started trying to red gun more, I thought I played at a relatively low sensitivity.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I mostly snipe on Call of Duty.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I started trying to red gun more, oh shit, sorry, y'all. I got confused because y'all's stream popped up on my phone.
No worries. No worries.
No worries.
Okay.
No worries.
Okay. Yeah. No. So what was I saying?
You said when
So-
you swapped from sniping to reg.
Okay.
gun.
Yeah. So when I started trying to red gun more, I ended up lowering my sensitivity,
Mm-hmm.
and then when I came back and tried to snipe again, was like, well, maybe I did actually play at a higher sensitivity. So I've been trying to find that like middle ground of like being able to snipe, but also being able to track. And when I'm at lower sensitivities, I can track fine, but then I can't flick the way I want to.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I play at higher sensitivities, my tracking's off.
Got you. Okay. Okay. So a couple of questions that I have. So it sounds like you're aware of the problems and the things that are happening, and it also sounds like most of these problems occur when you're trying to switch back and forth between sniping and red gunning. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
Cool.
sir.
And so it sounds like what you're going through might be kind of normal because the thing that you're trying to do is learn a new skill. And oftentimes when I tell players, this is a knowledge part, right? So what I tell players is like when you try to learn new skills, don't like your other skills might also go down because you're trying to learn something new. And once you learn that thing, they should also rise. So don't be afraid if you go down and stay down for a little bit. It's just because you're learning. So
Yeah, I just went through that the past 2 days. I swapped I had crouch on C for the longest time,
yeah.
and and I had control as prone, and I flipped them, and it
Ooh.
completely fucked me up for like a day. But
Yeah.
like now, that I'm getting it now, I feel like my movement's a whole lot smoother.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
making
yeah.
that transition.
Dude, I did the same thing with my summoner spells in League, and it was just all bad. But I'm wondering too, continue with the knowledge piece. Like, how often have you done actual science with your aim sensitivity in your settings?
I've done quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I've done a lot of. I was using raw mouse Excel for a little bit recently.
Mm-hmm.
I actually used it for about a month or two.
Mm-hmm.
And then and that was kind of one of my ways of trying to bridge that gap between having a higher sensitivity but being more accurate at a higher sensitivity.
Mm-hmm.
And
what have you found?
I thought I liked it at first, but I ultimately just ended up going back to just playing without it, just because I don't know. I hadn't 100% found the settings I was like 100% happy with on it yet.
Okay.
I had just found what seemed to work good enough.
Ooh, okay.
And
Okay.
so then eventually I just kind of was like, well, I guess I'll just go back to running everything 1-to-1. But then now I'm playing with my max zoom and my low zoom and my high zoom ADS sensitivity on 1.20, and I've tried 0 coefficient, 1.77 coefficient. That's kind of what I've been playing with lately too, is coefficients.
Dang. So what I'm thinking about too is when you're actually setting up this system, when I say science, like I think we can take a lot of different measurements of your settings, and we can also look at like measurements, like other, I guess, measurements of success. So how are you defining that? Are you defining that in like head hits, just shots landed, time, like accuracy of shot? Like I think when you go and start tracking these things, we're gonna need to be more specific in specific setting and result. And I think a really big thing for you that I'm hearing is does it feel good? And I think something that might help you feel better is to actually get this data to see how your like how effective your changes are with your aim, maybe rate or whatever you're measuring for success. Because what I'm hearing is that a lot of things are coming out of feeling, and the thing about feelings is they're not always the greatest metric of success.
Always the way I do it, I'm always trying to find a way to improve.
Yeah.
And so when I notice something's not working as efficiently as I would like it to, I try to switch it up. And I'll switch it up for a while, and I don't just do it for like a game or two. Like I'll switch it up for a while and I'll stick with it, and then eventually, if after an extended period of time I still don't like the way it's working and I think the old way was better, I'll go back to it and try something different.
Got you. All right, so as we move into this third stage of action, I think my one suggestion for you, because I think you are doing science, it sounds like you are playing with the settings, especially what you just said. If it feels good, then I'll continue, but if it feels bad, then I change something up. I think something that would actually be really helpful for you to see, one, if it feels good, and two, to see actually getting the results. And when I say results, I don't mean just wins and losses, man. When I mean results, I mean, are you getting that accuracy number that you want? Are you getting the hits that you want with every trigger pull? Those are a better metric of success than just wins and losses, because there's a lot of things that can kind of go into wins and losses, my friend.
And I'm the type, real quick,
go on. Give it to me.
I'm the type of player, at the end of the day, I really don't care about wins or losses. I'm more trying to go for like flippable moments and stuff.
Okay.
So my metric is like how many clippable like moments am I getting within each game? Like,
ooh, okay. then that circles back around to awareness now, and the question then becomes like, how often are you putting yourself in clippable moment positions, even before aim?
Yeah. I'm talking about like map awareness and stuff.
Or in general, because I think now that we went down to how do I improve my aim, right? We went down this awareness, knowledge, action piece. So we explored the awareness, how aware you are of, what you're doing, how you're trying to like improve your aim, switching back between two different guns. We went through the knowledge piece of, different skills or things that we could be doing. And then with action piece of actually tracking those pieces. So you rely on more objective data than just how you feel. However, it seems now when you said that, instead of improvement in aim, you want to improve because you're looking for clippable moments, right? So now that we circle back around to this awareness, if the purpose is to do clippable moments, now what are some other things besides our aim that could increase our chances to put ourselves in clippable moments opportunities?
Movement, map awareness, movement. That's just like like I said, I switched my control and my C. Was because for the longest time I've known that C, when I'm trying to slide cancel, hinders me from strafing right.
Nice.
And I've known that for the longest time. I just never forced myself to actually switch it until recently.
Yeah. Okay. So as we continue to talk, it sounds like there's a lot of things going on. We can focus on aim to get, clippable moments. We can talk about positioning and movement. We also switched guns for this like purpose too. So there's different ways to get these clippable moments, and it's depending on how you want to get them. Do you want to get them like you want to focus on getting them sniping first, and then we can go to the next gun? Do you want to get them in your regular gun first, and then go back to sniping, or do you want to try to do them both at the same time? Because again, all of those things dictate how you want to train. Because movement as a sniper is going to look different than an entry or a regular gunner, right? So how do you want to,
honestly, like, and the reason I've been switching to red guns, because I'm in red gun in COD since like COD 4. And so the whole reason I'm even switching is because I've gotten the sniping part down. Like I could do that. I could do that all day. Like I can get clips all day sniping. So it's just it's not as fun as it used to be.
Ooh, okay.
So, and in that period of time, I let my skills with red guns go way down. So now that's like really what I'm working on now.
Got you. Okay, so it's kind of fun where you're at then. Seems like you are starting and essentially not over, but kind of relearning things, positioning, running around, aiming with this new gun. And so I'm thinking too, there's I'm not sure. I would say like I would agree with Zubert, where positioning is probably more important or very, very valuable in conjunction with that. And I'm wondering, like, would it be easier, or how easy would it be to focus on maybe positioning and running around the map and then focusing on aiming? Because if you're in the right position, aiming could be easier. I'm just spitballing. I'm wondering, what do you think? What of these things, what's the lowest hanging fruit for you to focus on? Positioning, aiming?
I think really my biggest goal is just to get my my target transitioning and my flicks and my, like I said, my flicks I think are pretty decent, but just getting to the that snap aim and that I guess nowadays everybody calls it aimbot like aim, I guess, but just getting into that fluid just snapping real fast, and because I have no doubt that I can acquire those skills, you know what I mean? But it's just I've hit a point where I guess I just need to talk to more people that know more about it.
Yeah, I guess.
And see what other people do. Like I'm always looking at other people's settings, and I don't even use them, but I'm
Yeah.
always wondering what other people's settings are and how they do shit. And the one thing I'm always looking at is what are people's keybinds? Like, how do people's keybinds differ from mine?
Okay, so as we continue to talk, I'm wondering, like, are we hard focusing on mechanics? And do we need to pick up other skills so we can provide ourselves a chance to execute these mechanics?
I think it's more like the hard mechanics of it, because like the map, like I'm not the greatest player, but I've got pretty good game sense and map awareness and knowledge of the way stuff works. Like all that stuff I've pretty much got down. It's more just like down to actual like mechanics of it.
Yeah, okay. If it's that case, then it sounds like you have a system. If it's just purely mechanics, it sounds like you have a system to test your science according to your skill, according to your setting on that specific gun. And then we have specific hits or accuracy numbers that we can kind of improve: time, spread, numbers of enemies hit, for example. Because if we're just talking about mechanics, it sounds like you have a system to practice them. And then it's just regulating yourself to focus on practicing those mechanics. I'm just thinking as we talk that I would want to put you in positions where, yes, you could flick, but we wouldn't have to just rely on the flick mechanic alone. So I'm thinking if we can put you in really good positioning, or think about where all like people could be according to where the map and where your team is on the map, then we put you in more favorable positions to give you a higher percent chances to hit those flicks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm always doing that when I'm playing.
Yeah, okay. Then if
Like
that's the case,
watching for spawn flips and rotations and
yeah.
So I have one
that
question
stuff,
then.
Yeah.
I have one question then. How do you think you can get better at that? What is one thing that you can do to get better at that specifically? The game sense portion. If you have already
honestly,
a good system
I've
for
thought-
mechanics.
I've thought a lot about I have Kovacs and I have aim labs, but I don't know, I use them here and there, but I just haven't really been able to get into to doing those. I'd rather actually go in game and fucking do it. But it is something I have been wanting to get into.
Yeah,
Like
I'm
the
thinking
benchmarks and stuff.
Yeah, whatever system that you want to participate in, I suggest you be consistent in it. And I think too, like a lot of players will say the same thing that you said. You know, like for example, going to practice tool, it's boring, or going to aim lab, it's boring, or rewatching my VOD is boring. And what I tell players too is that like, oftentimes it's really good for you to expand and try something else that's new or different, because it uses different parts of your brain. And if you go through this, it's all about learning, right? So going back and watching those VODs, or thinking about not just how the settings, but looking at positioning, because if you just want to practice mechanics, I mean, that's like aim lab and stuff like that. And yes, you can go and practice in game, but at the same time, if it's just mechanics purely, then practicing outside and then transferring that into game is most effective, because you can practice that flick multiple times versus how many times you practice that one skill in a game and hit them, you know? Yeah.
So I think that was a pretty good summary of
Yeah.
things. I think you want to just quickly summarize the key things and maybe some other things that you can consider.
It definitely sounds like you're aware of what's going on. It definitely sounds like you have the knowledge and tools. You have aim lab, you have a tracking sheet, you kind of know what's going on with the progress of learning. So it sounds like whatever you want to do, the action is just being consistent in that. If you know that you could be improving aim and aim lab, or your aim bots, go for that for sure. If you want to utilize those sheets to make sure you're tracking your progress, to make sure that it's cohesive with the feelings that you're improving, that would be really, really good. I would also suggest stop and take a break, watch your own VODs, and instead of maybe focusing on settings, finding something that you're comfortable with and just practicing and making sure that you're consistent in that setting or with that gun. Yeah.
Yeah, and
I think another. Oh, sorry.
Like I watch all Strafe videos, all Tony Hawk's videos. Like I'm always watching people talk about how they do stuff. Faulty, L3.
Great.
Mhm.
Great.
Yeah, I guess the suggestion there would be get one of these, man. Get one of these, and while you watch the video, make sure you're taking notes about specific things. Timestamp them, and see, maybe even write that on a sticky note next to your computer. Next time you go into the game, I want to practice this rotation. Going in the game, I want to make sure that I hit this positioning, or I want to make sure I hit this percentage of accuracy. Like, make sure you're taking notes, because again, what we're talking about is learning, right? So the more ways you can remind yourselves of how to learn and keep that learning process fresh in your brain, the better, man. But I'm excited for you. It sounds like you know exactly what you need to do, and it sounds like you just got to go out there and do it, man. Awesome. You're the action stage. That's great. Go for it, dude.
Yeah, thank you, one Deegs. I think that was a pretty thorough discussion and overview of some of the things that you can really get into. One thing I'd like to add, and really we can transition to bringing a coach in here. I'd love to have a coach's perspective, because what we're trying to do is teach you how to learn. But there's people that have a really great understanding of the game itself, that might be able to provide you with a mental model to skip a lot of this process. So not really skip, but just learn more quickly, right? You can hire a coach, you can work with someone so they can provide a framework for you to, one, learn, but also understand certain concepts about the game more quickly. Right. And then it definitely did sound like there was a big focus on mechanics, and definitely looking to explore the game sense part of it, so that, hey, maybe crosshair placement can minimize the need to flick more. Right. That's always emphasized in games like CS and Valorant and just general BRs. How you place your crosshair can minimize the distance traveled to their body. Yeah. Let's thanks, one Deegs. I'm just gonna ask, if you don't mind, just heading back to the crowd, and then we can bring in a coach, to come in here and chat with us. And do you have any comments on what one Deegs said, or we can just have a conversation between you and Ryan about anything, right? About this model. Have you used something similar? Feel free to raise your hand and do you have something to add?
As we we got one. But really quickly, I think something else that there's really reminiscent about, it was one time I was working with a player, and they were an ADC, and they were very, very strong in the position, but they would often get caught out in like a team fight or something. And as we talked about it, we asked him hey, what's kind of going on, man? And he's saying hey, I have to outplay here. I have to, because my team has put me in this position, I need to go crazy and outplay them, because if I don't, we're going to lose. And so that was really eye-opening for me to think about, wow, you think that you need to outplay always, and that's why you're doing these crazy things. But is there other things that you can do, that you can say to your team, or other things you can do in the game, so you don't have to take on this mindset? So when I'm thinking about one and his flicking, I'm like, what are some things that we can do so you don't have to rely so heavily on this flick? Is there better things that we can position you to make you more successful, so your mechanics can shine?
Exactly.
Because if you're in a high pressure situation and there's so many things, and it's really difficult to display your mechanics. So is there higher percentage plays or higher percentage positions that we can put you in so you can use your mechanics? That's what I was trying to figure out. But
hopefully you guys can see his thought process, right? Throughout this whole thing, he was trying to help one Deegs understand and consider a difference in how he thinks and where to put his focus in terms of his approach to training. Because ultimately, like you said, we're teaching you guys how to learn. And sometimes we just get stuck in how we have been learning, and just try to bang our head against the wall and do the same thing over and over. Whereas we can really explore other alternatives.
It's always fun to ask the questions of, does it have to be that way? And if it doesn't have to be that way, how could it be? And then taking on that perspective and playing with that, openness of mind. But anyway, yo, Wolf, what's good, my friend? Welcome to the chat show, man.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it. I'm actually driving right now. I'm on my Bluetooth device, so
okay, safety first. That's good.
Yo, be safe. Be safe, my guy.
Yeah, so we're good. So there's a few things I wanted to bring up. Amazing conversation so far. Terao, I think you nailed a lot of the major stuff that I talk about when I do my coaching. Yeah, so the AKA method I actually love, because I think it does simplify kind of the approach that I have as well. Going from the awareness step to how you can apply knowledge, and then like a call to action, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
what are you gonna do about it? I think that's exactly what I do. However, it doesn't always go step by step. I feel like when a
Yeah.
player or a client or a mentee has a frustration, and they
Mm-hmm.
see like a deterioration of their mental state, they
Mm-hmm.
dip around, and I try
Oh
to direct
yeah.
them. And I think if I want to call out one of the major things, it's awareness, right? It is the first thing on your acronym there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's usually the first thing that I ask somebody when they're
Yeah.
frustrated. So, for example, I was listening to One Dig's situation, and I love that you asked, let's first figure out why you're frustrated or what you're frustrated about.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes, that's actually, ironically, it's one of the hardest questions to answer for
Yeah.
most players.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually kind of funny.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Agree. So sometimes what I do if they're like, I'm really frustrated, I'm angry, or okay, cool. Like, when did this start? Like, we can kind of walk it back, right? And we're kind of just
Right.
trying to, just figure out when did this start happening? What are some triggers that made you upset and frustrated? And then we just kind of parse it out between like the player and looking at their experience. And the more that I can understand where the player is coming from, or we can understand as coaches, the better the support we can provide them. And if you want to think about as a coach using the AKA model, this is also a diagnostic tool. Is this player having trouble with their awareness? Is this player having trouble with not knowing? Or is this player know everything, have awareness, but has trouble executing? So I think it also simplifies it for us to see like how we can help and what level do they need. And also, it's not always sequential, but if you can help them run through this model step by step and slow them down, it helps organize their thoughts. It helps organize their the thought process, and you can actually help them move along faster. So you can
For
also
sure. I
train
think,
this in the model. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm.
No, absolutely. I think that kind of nails the major thing that I try to bring on the awareness stage is like, let's first try to bring some clarity, because I think when you're frustrated, everything kind of it's like everything's a problem, right?
Yep.
And you have to get that clarity and identify real things that you can work.
Yeah.
Wolf, are you okay?
Bro, I'm just thinking
off.
his Tesla. He's going through. He's going to the underwater tube in his Tesla. He's not actually holding the steering wheel. Also, this is how I'm imagining him. He's just like cruising with his feet up.
Wolf, where are you, Wolf? Guys, does anyone have his phone number? Should we text him?
He's come back.
Is he good?
There he is.
Wolf, you good?
Dude, he just abducted Little Red Riding Hood, and he's like driving away from the crime scene. Wolf,
no.
He's coming.
Sorry, Scott.
Oh, okay, he's good.
Internet.
He's good. The man's alive.
Stiff, yeah.
Perfect. Hey, Wolf,
Sorry
I have
about
a quick question. Do you have
Sure.
any difficulty? Is there any situation where you have difficulty in working with a player that maybe Ryan can provide you some
Tag team,
insight
baby.
on?
That's a great question. I think let's see. What's funny is what I've noticed is as a coach, you kind of wear many different hats.
Yes.
And one thing that I've noticed, and Cine, gave me the opportunity to become, an AIM coach, which is primarily, dealing with mechanics, which is like, it's funny because, One Deeks was able to isolate that most of his problems he felt were mechanical. And that's something that a coach like myself can probably help identify, like, what are some actions we can take to help with your mechanics. But like I said, as a coach, you wear different hats. And I think when it starts to enter that realm where you're now almost, I don't want to say it in a way that sounds negative, but you almost become a therapist for your client. And you're almost consulting them. I think I wouldn't say it's a problem, but I think one tough thing as a coach is identifying what the best way is to communicate to someone. And for an example, many players that I deal with could be one that just needs somebody that will, be on their ass about everything.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you just got to whip them into shape. Like, hey, stop beating yourself up.
Yeah.
Get back in there and focus on the training regimen, right?
Thanks, coach.
And sometimes that's all they needed was a little, pat on the back and, go get it. But there's other cases where sometimes, there are, deeper wounds, I guess you can say, where there's a lack of confidence or self-esteem. And I guess that's that's probably something that gets difficult. And I don't know if you guys have a specific approach for that, but that'd be fantastic. Because I do like playing the role of being some supportive character in their lives. If they ask, how do you deal with being declined a sponsorship, or being declined or denied on a team? How do I deal with the picking myself back up? And I love sharing advice, but I think that's where things can get difficult, because how you communicate or convey a uplifting message, I feel, can be different based on person to person. So I guess that's a struggle of mine. So I'm curious to hear what you guys have experienced and how you guys deal with it.
Wow. That's a good question. So basically what I'm hearing is, how do I balance wearing all these hats, and how do I meet my clients' needs? Because everyone is different and their preferences. How do I talk to everyone to make sure that I give them what they want?
Exactly.
Okay,
Precisely. Yeah. And what I typically do, just so that you guys have a little more context, is I'll resort to just asking questions. What does help you? Does an extra kick of motivation, or does helping you figure out how to seek other opportunities help you out? I'll typically ask questions instead of assuming how they like to be helped. But yeah, if you guys have any other suggestions.
I like you, Coach Wolf. These are excellent start. I think, well, the first question I have for you is, what are you comfortable with? Like, what are you comfortable in your style of engagement with your players? What are you comfortable with doing? Cock stiff, internets. I think, well, beforehand. Oh, he's back.
Okay, we good?
Yeah, we good. So
okay,
what are you comfortable with, man? Like in your communication patterns, or when working with your players?
Sure. So first off, just for context again for the listeners, I deal with a wide array of players, from aspiring professionals, collegiate players, down to people who just started.
Wow.
Literally had just started, and they're, they want to start their journey, which is something Voltaic is great for. So just for context, there's a wide array, so it could be different but I guess you could say, like, what I'm most comfortable with is first, trying to, of course, do what I feel is like my expertise, which is help them out with the mechanical stuff of it.
Okay.
And then when it starts going into the mental aspect, I think building rapport and getting them to trust me with very delicate information, whether it be very, personal things and or, psychological things. I'm very comfortable in that space. I feel like I can do very well in putting myself in their shoes and developing understanding of how they feel.
Nice.
And give them an opportunity, like you've been expressed. Some people don't realize that there's an opportunity to do that with some coaches. But that's where I'm comfortable, is where, just really getting them comfortable with me. I think that's where my biggest strength is,
Okay, perfect. We have so much work that can be done then. I think it's really important. What I love that you mentioned, Wolf, is the acknowledgement that we wear a lot of hats, and sometimes it does feel like we're doing therapy. But at the same time, are we doing therapy, or are we just being good listening humans? Are we meeting people where they're at? Are we listening to what they need and what they're telling us? And I think you're doing a great job of that. The more, another thing that you said is, like, the more that I can build this trusting relationship, the more that they want to share with me, either about in-game stuff or outside things that are affecting their in-game things, like, the better I can help. Amazing. Awesome. Something else that...
Absolutely.
Yes, 100%. Something else that I want to highlight that I really like that you do, and one of my first suggestions is, hey, just have a conversation. Look, listen. Like, how do you typically like feedback? Like, and of course, everyone's gonna say, I like it upfront and blunt. Just tell me how it is, coach. And it's like, no, you don't want that. No, you don't want that, because when you think blunt and straight up, you think flame, or you think that, like, a football coach or a traditional baseball coach, like, that's what you think. And nobody wants that. So that's what I tell my players, and that's what they're thinking too. And they're like, okay, so if you don't want that, how would you like me to deliver things to you? And so also another thing you can do is they'll give you a preference, and then when you deliver that information in that style, you can also ask for feedback. Hey, how did you like that? What did you hear? When I said this, what did you take away from it? Oh, I thought that blah, 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 blah. Okay, cool. Great. Awesome. That's what I wanted. Or, hey, I took away this. Not quite. Sorry, I didn't mean that. This is where I wanted to say instead. Another suggestion with communication too is really just seeing what they react and respond well to, and then giving them more of it. And I think just asking their preferences, giving them the opportunity for feedback to be open and honest with you. And I think you're already doing a really excellent job of creating a safe environment for them to like screw up and be okay. I think that's another really big one too, where sometimes players are afraid to make mistakes in front of their coaches because they have to do good. So I think having that environment for them is super helpful.
I want to interject one bit because, as a physical therapist or when I'm working with someone with injuries, one important thing is that I assess for understanding.
Yeah.
And so I say it a certain way, and I say within my framework of communication, and I almost test them like, so what do you understand of what I said, right? And that's a structure within your coaching system, or a structure within your, for me, injury management system, to know that this person understood what I said and perceived it in the right way. That's really important to me, that they develop the right perception.
Yeah, that's a revelation for me.
So
I like that a lot.
So I assess their understanding always at the end, and I call it a quick test. And something I do in the beginning is like, hey, I'm gonna quiz you at the end. I just really want you to understand why I'm explaining this and why what we're doing is going to be helpful. And so at the end, I'm like, all right, it's quiz time, bro.
Yeah, if you don't mind me jumping in, because that's huge.
Yeah.
That's like a revelation. So, what I've noticed is like usually after a session, and then they want to revisit and schedule another one, they'll be like, oh, by the way, I don't remember half the things we talked about. I just know that it made me feel really good. And I'm like, well, shit, that's kind of like a double-edged sword, right? Because, I'm glad that, you just needed someone to talk to, but there was some very useful information that I think can carry you a long way. And I think asking them, assessing that and asking them, hey, what did you understand? What did you take away? And doing like a quick check on, how much of it was actually retained knowledge or information, and is actually really important. So I actually really like that. I'd never really, that would solve a huge problem, because I do run into that a lot, where maybe either I go too much on a tangent, or I'm providing too much feel good information that they feel good in the moment, but it's not something that's lasting. So that's huge. I appreciate that, Dr. Hu.
To go on to that too, something else that Sane wrote, like, repeat back to me what I said, that works. Another thing you can say too, if they give you like, oh, what's the most important thing today, what are you going to remember from this session, and they say, oh man, thanks for listening to me, I think the most important thing for me is that knowing that you care and you're a good coach. Oh, great, awesome, thank you so much. Okay, how about aim? What did we learn today? Right? Like, you always redirect it back to the thing that you want them to do. Right?
Absolutely. No, absolutely. Yeah. And I think that just that in itself is extremely powerful, because it's also the tonality. Like, I kind of heard it in Doctor Who's voice. It was like, all right, well, it's game time now. Like, what did you learn? And I think that if anybody is seeking coaching, like you need that assertiveness from a coach, or for somebody like you, a specialist in your field. Like, you want to make sure that they are fully aware of this very, very valuable information, that it doesn't just go out the other ear.
Absolutely. You can also encourage them to write stuff down. Send me notes, type it to me. Other things to help keep those takeaways or the 3 points for them. Or even if you want to send them afterwards a message like, hey, here's the 3 things I really want you to focus on from this day's session, also can help.
Of course.
But yeah, I think that
sounds like you're already a great coach, Wolf.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I appreciate that, guys. Thank you so much.
I think you have a really great, person-to-person approach. Just that underlying approach where you're just talking to them as a human, and like you said, building rapport. That's everything, right?
Yeah,
that's how they want to be treated. So,
for sure.
It's great to hear that, and thanks again for joining this and sharing how you approach this. But let's move on, guys. Let's go to tip number 3. Let's actually talk about Till, because I know people get frustrated. I know people, actually slam their table, right? Let's learn about it, because we actually focused a lot on, hard mechanical things that are in the game, mental models, right? That's definitely mental performance. But let's talk about the emotional side, right? So go ahead and
I
describe
know-
a little more about it here.
Yeah, I know this is what everyone's come for, right? Tilt, how to decrease tilt, how to stop tilting and breaking all the stuff, right? That's what people want to do. So my goal is to provide you with like an overview of tilt from a cognitive and I guess brain anatomical way, so you can have more information about it. And then I can give you some specific things to help you. And I'm going to categorize this in prevention and then tilt first aid, because I think they're two different things. And if I can teach you prevention, they'll be less tilted, and then you won't have to use first aid when it happens to you, all right? So let's start off. Yeah, tilt commonly, I think, will happen in two different directions. You have a cognitive tilt, right? You have the thoughts, the emotions, everything that's happening in your frontal lobes, kind of ironically, because they shut off. Because when you come tilted, you start using amygdala. Small little amygdala, almond-sized things in your brain responsible for fight or flight responses that does not allow for higher order level of thinking. So if you're tilted, how well are you thinking? The answer is not very good, strategically, or what have you. Other things that can happen if you're tilted in your brain is, one of the two leading causes of tilt is frustration and fatigue. So if you're fatigued, fun fact, research has shown that if you're tired in your brain, the most things that you need for long-term planning execution strategies, frontal lobe, right? This is very, very important here. Thank you. Very good. Frontal lobes. However, when you're tired, did you know that certain areas of your brain, because your brain requires lots of energy, it actually shuts down different parts and turns on other parts to conserve energy. And if you can guess, the frontal lobe is the first thing, or one of the first places to kind of shut down. And then afterwards, your brain functions from frontal actually shifts temporal. So instead of here, not this here is not really responsible for planning, impulse control, strategy. This is more like language production, understanding and stuff. Here's the thing though, your brain can't just shut down because you die, but instead it just shifts the functions. The thing that's really interesting is that speed is preserved. So you may think that they're thinking at a high level because you still have the speed, but the quality, my friends, is doo-doo. Like, it's garbage, trash, it's junk. It doesn't happen. So again, you may think that you, after the 10th game, oh, I'm still good. My thoughts are still flowing. I'm still, like, thinking fast. Yes, you're thinking quickly, but not efficiently or optimally. So here's why I'm telling you this. Cognitive tilt, we might need to use cognitive measures, right? So yes, you can do breathing, but if you're tilted in your mind emotionally, you need to use other techniques that might be more effective. So other cognitive techniques that to help you think is like, okay, stop, taking a moment. Why are you tilted? What's causing this tilt? Should you continue to play games? Are there other reframes that you can use in your head? And what a reframe is basically taking something and thinking about a little differently. So is there cognitive frames of tilt? So for example, I'm tilted and my reframe is now because I'm tilted, I am cognitively tired. I should take a break. I'm not tilted. I'm just fatigued. Okay, cool. I'm tired. I know how to address my fatigue, because if people try to address tilt and they don't know how to, you're not going to be able to do it. Right? So using cognitive techniques to bring yourself down, maybe some reality testing also, especially if you have the negative self-talk of I'm garbage. Okay, can we challenge this thought of how garbage you are? Is it just today in this moment? Is it a global statement? Oftentimes it's just right here now because you're playing bad because you can't think. It's true. So again,
let's take a little break there. I like that. I like the reframe. Reframe was one, and what was the second one?
Oh my gosh. Cognitive reframes was one, and the second one is taking a break and thinking about reality testing to see if these things are true.
Reality testing. Guys, let's pause there. And do you guys know what those means? Do you guys need further clarification on cognitive restructuring and maybe some examples, right? Because I think sometimes it's easy for us to just say, oh yeah, let me just reframe.
Yeah.
Let me just go to Wayfair, to buy a picture frame and say, I'm good. Or how do you actually reframe?
So
what does that
a reframe, mean? For example, the most common reframe, if you want to think about it, is seeing a failure as not a failure, but as a learning opportunity. Right? That's an example of a reframe. I think another one is this loss is really terrible. and I learned nothing. And you can see a loss instead as a instance where I can see where like opportunities that I can get better, right? So reframing losses, negative things into a more positive outcome focused thing. That would be a reframe. I think reality testing is really more interesting because we construct our own realities, right? And the really good test for that is looking at your self-talk. And what self-talk is exactly what that sounds is, what are you telling yourself? And you can hear, I mean, the greatest example, if you're not aware of this, is think about when you're tilted or when you die and what you tell yourself, or when you lose a game. Oh my God, I'm trash. Oh my God, I suck. Oh my God, I'm the worst player that ever lived. I'm never going to hit a shot. Like, how often are you telling yourself these things? And then I don't know about you, but if you say something like more like enough, you begin to believe it, right? So stop, write that thought down, and then can you challenge it? Is it true? Are you truly garbage? You know, it's funny because I'll have challenger players telling me, oh, I'm trash and I'm garbage. And I'm like, dude, you are one of 200 people that made this ladder. How can you be garbage? You know, or hey, you made this professional team out of thousands, tens of thousands of people. How can you be trash? You know,
right?
And oftentimes it's really trying to figure I think too, on one side, it's like people that don't want to acknowledge that they're good because they're so humble, but at the same time, are you really bragging, or are you objectively saying how good your talent is or how good your abilities are? And then if it's true, then why is it bragging? It's not. It's just a fact. The mountains are big. Water is fluid. These are facts. You don't say water being like, I'm the wettest. Like, no, like water is just water. It's wet. The end. You know, like if it's something's a fact, it's not bragging. So really checking yourself to really see, are these thoughts really helping you, or are they hindering you? And if you're hindering you, well, first, it's the fun question is why you're thinking it. And then how can we help you think better thoughts that are going to be more productive for you?
Yeah, why don't we give one example, right? The example is maybe I died, and the first thing you say is, I suck. And
I suck.
I suck. I'm a terrible teammate. What is another way that you guys can think about that situation? And let's say, let's give an example in Valorant. You are Killjoy, you're on B, you're on Split, and, you die the entry and they take the site, and you're like, I'm
so stupid.
I'm so bad. I couldn't even get a kill. What's another way that you can think about that? And we'll give you guys a chance to think, and also
it happens to everyone too.
Yeah, it does. And I'd love to do some live cognitive restructuring for some people and some situations. So. Give us some examples, and then everyone in the chat, think about some situations where you beat yourself up, where you have really just shitty self-talk.
Yeah, and
the first thing you say is, I'm the worst. I have shit aim.
And as you guys think about it, is it okay if I share a hypothesis about why I think people do it?
Sure.
All right, I have a hypothesis, and if this is you while you're thinking about your shitty moments and your self-talk, which is really fun. Like, my hypothesis is, and I think it's true of most people too, that this doesn't just apply to games. This applies to life too. When people shit on themselves, or even better, should all over themselves, right? I should have, could have.
Don't should all over.
Yeah, no, clean up your shoulds, man. This makes a mess. My hypothesis is that, like, oftentimes we are our own worst critics and our own, like, worst, like, nightmares, because my hypothesis is oftentimes, maybe either in your childhood or your past or even recently, these negative thoughts may have pushed you to improve. They may have been helpful at one point of view in your life to help you finish that project you didn't want to do. Maybe it helps you do more than you wanted to because you were afraid of being bad and terrible and all these kinds of things. However, if you're here and you're noticing that your self-talk is becoming more destructive, it's just because this technique that you've developed over time to help push yourself to do things is no longer effective. And that's okay, because that shows you that, like a hermit crab, you have outgrown this shell, and there are bigger and better shells that you need to go and continue your growth. So we can say thank you to yourself because you have done it to help you, we can say thank you for this technique. You've used it all the way up to its full potential, and now it's time for you to learn different skills. Yes, it's scary to learn different skills. Yes, it can be challenging. At the same time, for you to reach your next evolution, that new height in your gaming, that new peak, it's time for you to say goodbye to that technique and to embrace other ones.
Thanks.
Or just examine it, Some people have a different relationship with their self-talk. Some people use it. Some people, cut them down so far that it's not good. But, you can now, with the AKA model, even use it and apply it to your own self-talk. You know what I mean?
Hey, we got some good examples here. So it looks like I have room to improve. That's a good thought. That's a good thought. I like 1-2. 1-2 is a genius. What info can I gain from this, and what can be conveyed to my teammates?
Ooh, I like that.
What a teammate. We need to play together. That's what we need.
Are there other places
I can go, or what other placements can I do? Very nice.
Ooh, I like that.
When I get out macroed in a AoE game and just lose strategically and feel dumb.
Well, you had such a good one, 1-2, and then just you go with the one you led with. That is better. Okay, maybe the reframe there, if you get out macroed in AoE game and lose strategically and feel dumb, maybe it's you're feeling dumb because maybe you should have known, you could have done better, or you should have done better. At the same time, I'm wondering if the slight reframe could be, what do I need to know next time to not get outstratted? Or what do I need to learn from this game so I can do better for the next set? What's the takeaway from you? Sad face, I had trouble not getting upset over poor self-performance. Ooh, that is an interesting dilemma. Okay. Rainbow, in my case, it's not that one. Saying says, tap tack and strat approach. Did I hit my shots? Did I use ult effectively? Did I position well? Saying what I like about that is what you're saying is that you are specifically looking for good things. And I think oftentimes people don't look for good things. We always look for problems, maybe in life or games or anything. We are so problem focused. So I think even really just looking at what you did well so you can continue to improve on it, that's very positive psychology based. That's great too. That's a great thing. I like that. And I think, Sane, you're hitting us with the greatest hits again. I want to highlight a word in the sentence. Gotta accept the losses. You won't win 100%. I think the word I want to highlight there is acceptance, right? And when I say acceptance, I'm not saying that like I'm terrible, I lost this game, I'm garbage, and I accept I forever will be garbage and terrible. No. I think what I'm talking about acceptance is it helps us be present based when we accept the current situation and the cards in our hand. This is where we are. Because if we do not accept where we are or the reality that we're in, and we're basing our decisions about how things should be or how things could be, we no longer are playing the game, and we're playing the game that's happening in our head. So first, always when you think about change, just accept about where you are, what's happening, what we have here. Then after that, we can make objective moves to move forward. So I really do love the acceptance. But again, the acceptance is not of we suck forever, but this is where I am right now. I may suck today, but tomorrow I'm going to get better. Or I'm going to suck today and I'm going to learn lessons. So tomorrow I'm going to improve. And that's okay.
Let's go over preventative measures and the tilt aid, because we are getting near the end of this. We probably have like 20 more minutes, but
perfect.
I want to definitely cover these before we get there.
Yeah. Okay. So when I talk about preventative measures, these are things that you can practice before you even get in game. And if you nail these things, they will decrease your tilt because they will give you more cognitive endurance or cognitive facilities that you can use. So again, I love Matt's example of thinking of your mental as a blue monobar. Right? So if you continue to use your brain, you continue to play games, that blue monobar is going to go down. Eventually, it will go down. The goal of these preventative measures or techniques is to increase the size of that mana bar, so you're able to do more, play more before you get tilted, right? But eventually, the mana bar will still get zapped because you're human. Yeah. That's just what happens, right?
Exactly.
So when I'm talking about preventative measures, the first thing I like to start off with is how many games can you play at full capacity? from what you're doing. So say you play 10 games, like I said, but you really figure out you can play 3. Cool. Then let's schedule and structure a training practice around 3 games. And between each game, I want you to take some breaks. To stand up, eat, use the bathroom, drink some water, collect yourself. Maybe even write down that one thing that you want to get done or that you did well from that game. I mean, ideally, you'd have a goal before you go in the game, so you work on that goal in the game, so you don't get tilted about the outcome. But again, setting boundaries in how many games you're playing is critical. Also, other preventative measures are you sleeping? Are you eating? Are you exercising? Everything is connected, my friends. So making sure you have your acts of daily living, or ADLs, taken care of and planned out is super effective. Another thing that you can do for preventative measures is being, running the AKA model and becoming aware of what happens to you when you get tilted. So when that thing happens, you actually have a contingency plan already in place. So when it happens, you just run through that plan. Okay, I'm gonna take a break. Okay, I'm gonna do some deep breathing. Okay, I'm gonna go for a run. Okay, I already have these actions in place that I want to do that are effective for me. And also, again, the preventative measures is knowing all the pathways and understanding how tilt works, so you have better knowledge, so you know how to deal with it.
Okay, now, quick review. Yeah. Quick review. Hit the key points for preventative measures. What are they?
100%. 100. I know 1-2's got him. I know 1-2 Insane's got him. I have faith.
And what are your guys' preventative measures, and how are you guys going to incorporate it?
Ooh, productive de-stressing. I want to hear more about that. That works too? 1-2, what's yours, man? Ooh, on cue! Example plan. I came up with me. Play 2 games and then VOD review 1 unless 2 overwhelming wins, and integrate exercise and eating into VOD time. Bro! Hey, fun. You want to know a fun game 1-2? KDA. Push-ups, sit-ups, squats. That should be a fun one for you. If you get how many kills you get could be your push-ups, how many deaths you get is your sit-ups, and how many assists you get, that is your squats. There you go. That's your workout plan. Over 3 games, that's kind of a lot. And if your feet are like me, that's a lot of push-ups or a lot of sit-ups. Wolf, I'm considering if I should look more at things I do well than things I do badly. Yes! Highlighting 3 things you did well would be awesome. However, it's a bit weird as Tap FPS is very, very focused on making less mistakes than the other team.
True.
That's true. True.
But is there a way that when you focus on the positives, that it can lead to less mistakes? Is that possible?
Ooh, yeah. I
don't know. Just think about it. Yeah. Just think about it.
I mean, makes sense to me, man.
So what were the preventative measures, Ryan? What were they? Do a quick rundown of those.
Set a boundary. Have a contingency plan. And know when it's happening. All right.
Know when it's happening. Okay, so those are your quick things to remember. I would choose one and look to incorporate that into the next time that you play. Whatever one that you feel like is going to be easy for you to integrate into your practice, whether it be setting up a plan. Like, I know what I'm going to do if I slam the table, or I know what I'm going to do if XYZ. And or some of the other ones, choose the one that you feel like will really function well within your own personality.
Absolutely.
And so what about when they actually get mad?
Yeah, first aid. Yes, very good.
I'm so mad.
I also noticed I didn't go over the somatic pathway of tilt, and I think that's why I think it's appropriate here. Oftentimes, like, even thinking about somatically, so in your body, what happens when you're tilted? Oftentimes, people's hearts are pumping. Oftentimes, their muscles are tense. Oftentimes, maybe their mouth is dry. Maybe they're sweating, right? They're very activated. So the goal with mental health, tilt first aid, is to address some of these symptoms, somatic symptoms too. So what can you do? Breathing exercises, they do help. Another thing to do is stop playing. Stop it. Stop it. Do not tilt Q. This is not going to end well. You know exactly what's going to happen. Doctors order you tilted, just stop. That's like number 1 thing you need to do. Stop.
What about in a case when they are professionals?
if you're a professional and you're training, my God, I hope we're working together so you don't do this. But if you're in the arena and you need to continue playing, step away from the computer for a little bit. Get up, walk. If you need to deafen and mute in the Discord, as long as you tell people, hey, I need to take a break, I need to step away for a little bit, and when I'm ready, I'm gonna come back. As long as you tell people what you're going to do and why you're doing it, it should be fine. Don't just like mute all and just leave, that's not good. But if you let the people know why you're doing it and what's happening for you, that's fine. So again, taking breaks, changing the scenery, getting up, using the bathroom, going to the kitchen, getting a drink of water. If you're in an arena, maybe just even taking a lap, something to clear your mind. Again, breathing really does help, changing the scenery. And I do think another thing to do is, just really, really focus on the next game. I think it's that piece of acceptance of, okay, that just happened. Because I think sometimes what happens when people are tilted is that think too much about the past and what the game that just played. But in a sense, you really have to develop like short-term memory of these losses or negative things so you can literally pick up and keep going for the next game. And I think that's something special in esports.
Ted Lasso, baby. Ted Lasso, baby.
Yeah, like just really just dropping it so you can continue to focus. And again, it's really just being balanced in that. So accepting where you are, knowing to mentally reset, taking a break and doing breathing or even progressive muscle relaxation can really help you. Anything to help relax you. So what are the things that do that? Is it watching a video, and also having like making plans for this. So watching YouTube videos, maybe something fun. Is there a song to help you reset? So there's a lot of things that, people can do, but differently. So what works for you? But again, the biggest things, the 3 ones for me is changing scenery, taking a break, and breathing. This last one. Yeah.
Got it.
Anything that can relax you. Progressive muscle relaxation, super fun.
So you'll see that, it's not always a one size fits all. Sometimes maybe it's a breathing for someone, maybe it's music for someone else, maybe it is saying, hey guys, I need to take a little break. I'm just getting a little tilted. Can you give me some time? Right? And saying that to create mental space for yourself, how do you think that, helps your teammates? if someone really is like able to step back and just say, wow, I'm getting pretty tilted right now, instead of maybe your teammates guessing like, dude, he's like not talking as much.
Yeah.
So
I was just gonna add, like, dude, if this is something that you haven't tried yet with your teammates, I'm sure you can try it in other areas. If you have a significant other, if you have a mother or father, a sister or brother, a friend, and I don't know, we're coming up to Thanksgiving, right? And politics is going to come up guaranteed in some of your houses. And if there's something you don't want to talk about because it's tilting you, that you don't want to talk about Donald Trump or whatever, whatever, you can say like, hey, don't really enjoy this conversation. Is it cool if I just like take a little break and just, you can do the same things. Like these things aren't just for games and interpersonal relationships with your teammates. You can do this with anyone. And it's always great to let people know, what's affecting you and why. That's great. Do not make like Korean soap operas and don't tell like anybody what's wrong until the end. We can solve so many things. Hey, I really didn't like it when you said that to me. When you said that, it made me feel that you think I'm stupid. And I didn't like that. Like just telling people and at the same time, it's really watching your tone, but being brave and in sharing what you thought someone said and why they hurt you so you can grow in that relationship. Because when we're talking about relationships, it's not about the ruptures or the breaking of them. It's all about the repair, because oftentimes if you're able to repair relationships, it's twice as strong as before when you broke it. So be brave, my friends.
Yep. So I actually, we had a few other slides, but we're actually getting to the end of this. I did want to just stop, take stock. What was something throughout this entire conversation, because we've gone through a lot, we've talked about a lot. What was something that you guys immediately took away? Right? Like what is something that you will remember and you will bring to your next gaming session, or you will bring into next week? Think about that right now. Take the time. If you want to raise your hand and tell us, go ahead, or you can leave it in the chat. Right, so I'm really curious to hear, because that's the ultimate goal. We want to help at least one small change for how you approach gaming, how you approach your lifestyle, how you approach relationships, how you approach communication. Those are the things that we want to help gradually change. And it starts with one thing. It doesn't start with all of them. It starts with one thing. Yeah. So I already love it, right? Remember to touch grass. That's for you. Perfect. Why am I understanding why you're tilted? Great. The tilt prevention techniques. Working on an in-depth practice plan. Yep. You develop contingency plans. Guess what? That gives you you set aside the solution beforehand, so you don't have to take that mental effort to find the solution when you're actually in the game. You set that part aside. I figured out. I know what I'm gonna do when this happens. And a lot of the times, hey, I understand. There's so many situations, but if you take the time and actually pre-plan, it can save you the mental stress and give you more energy to focus on the things that are important, right?
Yeah. So, it's funny because as you're talking about that, I remember, like, I don't know if your school had this, but I know growing up, like, we always had, like, Fire Awareness Week, and we had to, like, go home and make a fire escape plan in our house and bring it in for homework because that was, like, extra credit. So, like, exactly, like, making that contingency plan, talking with people about what happens if the house is on fire. What are you going to do? So when it happens, you don't freak out. I saw a hand by Search in the AMA, and
let's go.
Would you like to bring them in? Okay, I got you, Search.
Search it up.
All right, you're invited, Search. So accept the invite and come hang out.
Search. Let's search for a solution.
There you go, Search. What's good?
So, I had a question about just like conversational. I have some conflicting opinions that I generally don't want to talk about them because it creates problems with relationships.
Okay.
So how do I avoid having those conversations and say, like, because I don't know exactly how to word it properly or express myself sometimes. I just don't know how to say, like, hey, I don't want to talk about this. Like, how do I say that in a nicer way to where I don't have to deal with that situation?
I literally think that's fine. Like, hey, I don't feel comfortable. Is it cool if we don't talk about this? I don't feel really comfortable. And then they're probably going to ask you why. And then you say, like, this is something that I'm not ready yet to talk about. And then I think it's just up to that other person to, accept that because what? Like, no, you have to talk about this. Like, no, I'm not ready yet. And I think that's really great that you're, open to saying that. And I think that's fine. I'm exactly how you said, like, no, it's not, I'm just not. And if they keep pushing, I think somebody can say, hey, I really would appreciate if you would respect, what I'm not willing to share yet. And when I'm ready, I'll share it with you. What do you think, Search?
I think that's a 100% valid point. I've thought about it, and I just don't know the polite ways to say certain things, and you kind of opened me up to that.
Yeah,
I'm a little bit better.
Yeah, I'm wondering. I mean, you don't have to answer this question. I'm just kind of curious. Like, does this conflict need to happen?
Yeah, it does happen. It has ruined quite a few friendships actually in the past.
Okay. I mean, does it need to happen? Is boundaries getting crossed with you that you need to like set?
It doesn't need to happen. I could avoid those conversations, and the friendship would go on perfectly fine. It's more of a political and opinion based thing that I don't feel the obligation to answer sometimes.
Yeah.
Or at least anymore, because it just ruins stuff sometimes.
Yikers. Well,
because I'm a very blunt person when it comes to things, so I'll say things how I believe they are, and sometimes that can either offend people or people just don't understand those opinions fully because of like the way that I say them. I just don't know how to express myself properly sometimes, so it's just better not to talk about those things than to create issues.
I think something else that might help too is like if you know that you might come across that way if you express, I mean, if you want to, right? Say like preface the conversation with, hey, I'm gonna say some stuff and I don't mean it hurtfully or anything. This is just what I think, and oftentimes I may not be like really eloquent with my words, and if you offend you, then like let me know, then I can correct it. I'm just being open to that conversation, but for sure, like you have full power to say I'm not comfortable talking about this, and it's up to the other person to be like, I respect you because that's what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Like, and if they don't, like, why are you hanging out with that person that doesn't respect you and like that?
Very true.
Yeah. Cool.
That's pretty much all I have to say.
Yeah.
Thank you for the answers and the conversation.
No worries. Yeah, thanks for coming up. Appreciate it. I actually see Autumn too,
Yeah, let's
ready
bring
to
Autumn
speak.
in.
So is it okay, Serge, if we bring Autumn in and
Yeah.
put you back? Okay, awesome, thank you. All right, sending the invite to Autumn. Welcome, Autumn.
So my
What's up,
question
Autumn?
was about tilt management techniques in team versus single player games, as like I've primarily been in team environments before, and I'm looking to transition to a game that's mainly 1v1 format. So I was wondering, like, how would like these techniques of like communicating with your teammates cross over to like self management techniques?
Ooh, interesting. I think, well, if you are going to do self-regulation, like, so you came from team and you're going to individual and you're asking what team things are going to help you individually to reduce your tilt.
Yes, as I've worked on a team with a mental coach before, and I saw a lot of the things he did for the players, and I was just wondering, like, what are some common techniques that might be that you see in team environments that might also be applicable in solo environments?
Got you. All the first aid techniques work. So your breathing, your self-regulation techniques, you're using the AKA model to observe your process of tilt. And once you're able to identify those pieces of tilt, then you can find different ways to address them. I'm thinking if you're doing more individual games, it's going to be you analyzing yourself to figure out what makes you frustrated and then finding plans or techniques that's going to work specifically for you. So if you would like to get hooked up with a coach that can like work with you there or help you observe yourself and provide you with I guess very not overt, what's the word, objective observations of you and how you're tilting and what they've noticed, or even like, hey, if you're encountering specific situations that tilt you, maybe they can help walk through that process with you. Because most of the time tilt in teammates comes out in conversations about how people are tilting them and what they want to do instead of those actions and behaviors. But when working with you, I'm guessing like you're going to need to figure out what tilts you and then what helps you get untilted individually. So finding a coach might be very, very useful. Other things that might be very useful is sitting down and journaling your process and figuring out what pieces of your tilt you start to notice first, and then things that might help you, maybe cognitive techniques or somatic techniques.
Yes, because one of the things I noticed a lot in the team environment was it would often be other players saying, hey, take a breather when one player is tilting.
Yeah.
So it's just going to be hard to know when you need to take a breather yourself.
Right.
That's
Yeah, so it's you I think as you transition to individual play, I think one of the things that's going to be very important for you to develop is this sense of self-awareness, right? Your ability to really self-analyze and become aware of when things are happening for you. Because for example, a question that I ask some players is, what do you do to tilt yourself? Right? Or what do opponents do to tilt you? So, for example, if it's a fighting game by yourself, or it's, for example, StarCraft, man, I get really tilted when I'm not able to build as fast as possible, or I get really tilted when I run out of like resources, and then I have to like figure out where to get them or something. And so, okay, if that's what's tilting you, then we really just need to focus on that specific action or skill, so you always have resources, or you always can block attacks or build a deck so you're more prepared for it. So really thinking about what do you do to tilt yourself? What does your opponent do to tilt you? And are there other environmental or outside factors that increase or decrease your level of tilt? And so again, this is a self-study that's going to be really fun for you.
Yes, going off what you said, I think what you suggested of journaling, like reviewing my own VODs and my thoughts during those games would probably help me identify those sources of tilt. Thank you so much.
100%. Yeah, good luck out there, buddy. Great question, dude.
Thank you.
That was amazing. And I think that actually wraps up this whole discussion, right? Because all we're trying to do is help you learn a little more about how you think in multiple situations, right? And so one thing for me when I was a little younger, right? I'm old now, guys. In order to better understand my own thoughts, I wanted to get into meditation. Right. And so how I use meditation, and there's many ways you can use meditation. But the way I did it was to just better observe my own thoughts. Right. Just let my brain go wild. And then I could see the types of patterns of thinking and how I approached certain situations just by observing. Right. And that in itself was the skill that I developed with meditation, observing my own thoughts. Because sometimes, maybe a majority of the time, people aren't even aware of what they're thinking. They just go on autopilot. They're zombies. And, you know, when you talk with Orion, when you guys listen to this kind of conversation, you're like, well, wait, I can think about thinking. I can be aware of my thoughts. And better yet, I can possibly control them.
Yep.
Whoa.
And yeah.
Whoa.
And 100%. I think another suggestion, if you have trouble with self-analyzing or self-analysis, or being, honestly, sometimes it's being open and honest with ourselves and allowing ourselves to see some things that we maybe don't want to. My suggestion is, find people like me. Go find a psychologist. Go find a therapist. And the best time to go see someone like us or me would be when everything is great. And why? Well, because we can work in prevention. We can set up systems to make improvements, because it's a lot easier to improve when everything's not doom and gloom. You know what I mean? So, I mean, if you want, I encourage everyone, check your health insurance. If you're part of university, there's one. Like, if you want to come talk to me, I can maybe find you some resources or point you in the right direction. Like, we're here to help, and I'm glad that Voltaic invites us as on HP to help talk about mental health or provide you with a way to live your life to the fullest. And it's just funny because we're using games as an easy step into like mental health or health in general. It's just more fun to do it. But like I said, everything that we talked about today, all these techniques, you can apply them to school, dating, your family, your friends, life, everything. Right? They're not just for aim training. They're not just for how do I not yell at my teammate. They're life skills.
Exactly. And so I want to thank everyone for attending. Serge, I know you have raised your hand. We're on the way out, but I wanted to thank you guys for being so willing to discuss your own issues, to highlight some of the things you have been working on, and really hope that you guys took one, maybe two. We're praying for 3 things that out of this presentation, out of this discussion. And if you guys did, something that really helps us is if you share it, whether it be within this Discord, whether it be on Twitter, or when you're in game, you go, hey guys, there's this great community of 1HP of professionals that can help us with exercise, nutrition, injuries, psychology, everything, and then we can connect you with the right person to better manage all of these avenues of your performance. So again,
100%.
If there's one thing that you took away from this, please share it on Twitter, tag us, tag Voltaic, tag Sydney, if whoever you learned it from, or just if it was a great conversation for you, it always really helps us. And that is all. As a dad now, I have to go take care of my daughter. But is there any last thoughts that you want to leave the community with, Ryan?
Yeah, I think the one thing that I want everyone to remember is I want you all to show yourself some grace today. I think everyone, especially gamers who are super competitive, super driven to improve, we're often so hard on ourselves. And especially when we make mistakes or fall down or fall short, we're so bad at picking, at being nice to ourselves. So my challenge to you is to show yourself some grace today. And if you fall down, don't jump on yourself. Say it's okay, I got it next time. Just that little bit of grace. If you could do one thing, that'd be the one thing I would suggest.
Awesome, I love it. Hey, thank you guys again, and I think that is all. We're ending the stream.
You can end stream since you got your daughter. There's people in here, so if you guys want to hang around, I'll be hang around for a little bit. If you guys want to talk stories, in somewhere, so I'll hang out in the Voltaic something if that's cool.
Yeah, and in the Discord, or he's gonna hang out in stages maybe. I'm ending this now.